So, this has been a really strange 36 hours since the news about Kobe Bryant and his passing. Him and his daughter, Gianna, 13 years old, and seven other passengers on a helicopter that passed away in Calabasas Sunday afternoon. I initially wanted to record something immediately when they found the news, but I just couldn't process anything. And it's not like I knew Kobe Bryant personally. I wasn't a friend, and I you hear a lot of that out there with people like telling folks how to grieve and whatnot. But this one sucks. This one hit, and I think for me, it was the shock value. Number one, the fact that he actually died at the age he died. Then there was an extra layer of grief for everybody, especially. And I'm not saying you have to be a parent to be affected by this, but when you're a parent, you can especially feel this to a total degree. When you find out that one of his kids. Well, initially they were saying it was his entire family, but it ended up being his one daughter, Gianna, of course, on the helicopter with him. Yeah, it's just, I'm a NBA diehard. It is my favorite sport, my favorite league of all. So there's always a sense of community with the NBA. I mean, I've said this before on the show through the years when it came to the Donald Sterling situation, other tragedies that happened, or anything that impacted society and culture. The NBA was always a very united, has been and continues to be a united front of community, whether it's in the media, players, fans, folks that cover the game. I've always been proud to be someone that's one time or another covered this league. I was actually at Target with my sons, running some errands, and I had to make plans to go to Target, get lunch for the kids because they want some pizza. We got some pizzas. Came back out. It was about 3 in the afternoon. 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I get a text from one of my family members, and basically saying that sent a text with the screenshot of some news source that Kobe Bryant apparently was killed, and I was like nah, this is gotta be a hoax. Made some phone calls. Looked around, investigate. Obviously, you know how I am. I don't like to take anything face value, grain of salt. I want to make sure I source it, double source it, triple source it before I start really reacting and putting stuff out there. So I did that, and at first no one could confirm it, and then all of a sudden, the people that you can trust and people who got back to me said, "Yeah, this is true." Looks to be true. And then the story gets worse because it's not just Kobe Bryant, it's multiple people. It's they couldn't we weren't sure if his entire family was on the helicopter at the time. Who else, whatever. It was crazy. I found out in the parking lot in Target, and I was starting to drive off, and then I was shaking so much I had to pull over. Because I wanted the kids in the car, and I didn't cry immediately. Excuse me. But I was shocked and just shaken, and it was just weird. Gosh, I'm obviously I'm a big Kobe Bryant fan. He's not my favorite player of all time, but I definitely understand the impact of what he's brought to the game of basketball, and I'm one that has been very critical of Kobe Bryant in the past. That's just the nature of what I've done for years. Doing this medium, is that we critique things. When he's great, you praise him. When he does when he's not so great, you criticize within reason. But then the story gets worse when you hear about his daughter. I mean, again, and as a father, like I'm just thinking in my head, I can't even imagine what they went through. Kobe Bryant, 41 years old. Eerie too, because LeBron James had just passed him the night before on the all-time scoring list for third in NBA history. And then this happens. It's weird. It's just such strange timing of all this. It's funny because my appreciation for Kobe Bryant has come so natural. I used to dislike Kobe Bryant very much. I'm turning 40 this year, so I saw his entire career from the beginning. And watching him play. His first couple of years in the league, obviously this is me also being very immature, not being able to understand and whatnot. I found Kobe Bryant early on in his career very arrogant. I just didn't like how he carried himself. And not that he's a bad guy. It's just, this is also post Jordan. And while I wasn't a Jordan guy, I always held Jordan to such a regard, and I still do. Michael Jordan. And I thought Kobe Bryant was just trying to, take a couple steps ahead before being the guy. So there was always a biasness, a negative bias against Kobe Bryant for a couple of years for me. And then everything happened with Colorado, and obviously you have to get into that because there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in that situation. I'm not going to get into that, but I remember after the Colorado thing, and after Shaq and Kobe split up in 2004, Kobe decided to embrace who he was. Because you gotta remember too, also Kobe Bryant was trying to be someone he was not for a long time. I remember that was something that was a thing where he was trying to please everybody. And that's the thing too with Kobe Bryant in the early days. He didn't feel authentic to me at the time. And then that changed in 2004 after the split between him and Shaq. And something really spoke to me at that point. Like, for the first time to me, he felt more like someone I can embrace. So I started watching his games more and more, and I started becoming a fan of his work. Granted, those mid-2000s teams were pretty mediocre at best, and he was carrying those teams. He probably should have won MVP in 2006. But he was more true to himself, being a guy that, wasn't sorry for how he acted in terms of hard work and just being cutthroat as a player and whatnot. And some people hated it, some people loved it, but at least he owned it. I always appreciate that. That's why I root for him when his two titles, his additional two titles in 2009 and 10. But going back to the Colorado thing too, what really struck me about Kobe Bryant, especially too, and it's funny. Like I was talking to people about, people keep bringing up the Colorado thing and and him and Vanessa and their issues. His wife, of course, which again, our thoughts and prayers with her, especially her and the family. Going through the situation, she had a reason to leave him, obviously, and she didn't. Say what you want about Kobe Bryant, good or bad. He made his marriage work. They stuck together. They got married very young, number one. And the fact that you look at the divorce rate in this country, it is horrific. It's 60%? And here it is, two people who went through real life situations and found a way to make it work. And don't forget too, they almost got divorced again in 2011 and still made it work. If there's anything you could take away from Kobe Bryant today, as he's now no longer with us, is that he was able to make it something like that, his marriage work. And I feel like he became more human to me as he became number 24 Kobe Bryant. He became more human to me. And I became a huge fan at some point. I started to appreciate him more. And he was a really good father. And that's the one thing I think now that I'm a dad myself and watching him in the last 10 years with his kids and in public and being, after games, being with his kids, being a family man, he really became more human to me. It's probably why I found myself defending him more in the later years, being a little more appreciative of what he brought to the table as a player. And again, I didn't agree with everything he did, and sometimes he could be a little selfish on the court. Those things do apply, but overall, I thought he was just a phenomenal basketball player, top 10 all time. We could debate obviously where he ranks all time, but he's incredible. In closing, I want to say this. Like I said, Sunday was weird because once the news came in, my whole entire day got shifted. I had plans to watch Worlds Collide, NXT, wrestling stuff. Some guys don't even care about that, but whatever. And I was on the phone with friends of mine, who were family and who are fans of Kobe Bryant or appreciative of Kobe Bryant's gifts. And it was a really sad day. I wanted to take the entire day to process it first, because I initially wanted to drop this podcast to react to it immediately, but then it's I just couldn't come to grips with doing it. Number one, I couldn't really bring myself to talk about it, and to be honest with you, what really saved the day yesterday for me and Sunday as the day was passing was I actually was able to I watched the Royal Rumble with my kids, and I was just trying to appreciate being in the moment with them, because I spent the next 4 hours when I got home from Target, watching the coverage, and the kids were just doing their own thing, and I was in complete shock. So I spent the final couple hours of the day before they had to go to sleep, of course, with my kids watching the Royal Rumble, and this being in. But the point is really more than anything else, being with them, appreciating them in the moment, and we're a close knit family anyway, so they don't need me reminded how much I love them, or that mom loves them, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt, and for me personally too, especially for me, I can't speak for everybody on this when it comes to this situation, but every couple of years I get reminders for myself of deaths that happen in my family or people I appreciate, especially in the last 10 years, and just reminders of appreciating life, not taking things for granted. I didn't deal a lot with death in my life until the last 10 years. The first death I really dealt with was a good friend of mine, a colleague, especially too, musician friend of mine, Joe Arthur, passed away when I was like 26 years old, and we were all tight. I was in the band, and we used to hang out all the time on that. So that was definitely a tough one at the time. It was the first time dealing with death. It was such a person I was close with. But I didn't deal with anything else like that until the last 10 years. So my grandfather passed, then my grandmother passed, then my uncle passed. Then you have phenomenal talents I appreciate, like Whitney Houston passed away, Prince passed away in the last 10 years as well too. And I get little reminders. My father-in-law passed away a couple years ago, so you get little reminders of this. For me, I get little reminders of learning to appreciate, of reminders to appreciate the moment, appreciate life, appreciate what you have. Any things that feuds you have going on, mend fences, focus on things that matter. Things will matter, people you love matter. The things you appreciate, people you appreciate, That matters. And again, I got another reminder this weekend about Kobe Bryant. Another reminder for myself that life's precious. Life can be short, and you don't know it, and it just happens. I don't know. I feel like talking today finally. This is all over the place. I apologize for that. I was all over the place today with this one, but I just want to get my thoughts out there and my thoughts and prayers. We might do a little tribute to Kobe also on this show in the next couple of days. Hopefully, if I get the time to do it, get some people obviously within this podcast. You know, people who come on this podcast who've covered the Lakers, who are Lakers fans, who, cover Kobe through the years. If we can do that, I'm not going to confirm that we'll do it now, but I'm going to try to put it together in the next couple of days, which is very strange because it's Super Bowl week too, and I have a couple things in Super Bowl I need to take care of too. But I don't know. This week has been thrown for a whole loop. So again, kiss your loved ones. Obviously, appreciate the moment, appreciate your life. Nothing's guaranteed, man. And another reminder this past weekend. So again, I can't stress enough my thoughts and prayers with Vanessa Bryant, her three wonderful daughters, and their family and friends and all that. Grieving right now. I can't even imagine what they're going through. But just had to get something off my chest. So rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace, Gianna. Rest in peace of the 7 people on that helicopter that passed away as well too. And that's it. That's all I had to say.